Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episodes 942 to 945. So last time, things got really fucking sad. Tonoyasu is dead. Murdered on camera, on screen, by the soldiers, I guess you could call them, of Orochi. Right in front of his daughter and all of the people of Ebisu Town. And we saw the heartbreaking reaction of them all. The most heartbreaking being of his daughters. Toko was broken. And she even, burst in there to try and heal her father with toad oil, and that part really got me. Using Usopp's toad oil to try and heal him. And we found out the truth about the smiles of Ebisu Town. It's smiles. Smile fruits. Smile fruits that didn't turn out well for the servants of Orochi. Were then saved, the remainders of the fruits, and given to the people of Ebisu Town, cursing them to never be able to show any emotion outside of laughter. Even when sad, even when anything else. All they can do is smile and laugh. They're cursed to do so by these smile fruits. And on top of it, because the smile fruits are artificial devil fruits, they are also cursed with the inability to swim or survive in the ocean in general. Which may not be as big of an issue for them with where they're at, but still, it is one. And it just continues to show how fucking evil Orochi and Kaido are. And I said it last time, but it's like they're really rising up as two of my favorite villains of this series. Like, comparing it to other villains we've had. Like, they've done some horrible shit. Doflamingo did horrible shit. Arlong did horrible shit. Crocodile, of course, did horrible shit. And so many others. And most of the villains of One Piece have. But I think the way that they're showing Orochi and Kaido's actions and the results of their actions in this arc is more viscerally upsetting than the others. And it does not minimize the actions of the other villains. It does not minimize them. It does not make them any less horrible. But it's specifically the manner in which Oda and the animators and everything else is showing it within this series for Kaido and Orochi that just makes it so more viscerally upsetting. It's in terms of the anime, it's definitely the voice acting, the animation, the colorization at certain points, all of that. In general, with both that and the manga, clearly, it's what's actually happening. Again, seeing Tonoyasu murdered like that on screen was horrific. One of the most horrific things in this series by far. And this series has had a lot of horrific things. I mean, we saw Ace get a hole blown through his entire body pretty much by a Kanu. We saw the kind of shit Doflamingo has done. We saw Arlong being fucking Arlong and just how that affected Nami. We've seen some horrific stuff, but it's like just that was hard to watch. And again, it's just all this stuff and just all of the context behind it and all. That's what's making it so much, I feel, worse as well. And a lot of this has been told through children as well, seeing Otama no Toko go through this stuff. That's also part of what makes it so heavy. And yes, again, we've seen this before. Nami and Nojiko were children when their mother was killed right in front of them. And Arlong basically enslaved Nami. Like, Vivi was still quite young when she had to enter Baroque Works as a spy to work to take down Crocodile. And so on and so forth. Rebecca was young when her father, Kairos, was turned into a toy soldier and she forgot about his very existence. This kind of horrible shit has been happening in the series. And it just continues to show that this is a very mature and intense show. That One Piece is not for children at all. Like, shonen is typically perceived by many to like be like, oh yeah, shonen anime, it's made for like young adolescent boys. And it's like, um let's be honest, this series is not really for kids in any way. Um just because it's shonen doesn't mean shit. I'd say like at the very least 16 and up, but more honestly, much more validly, I'd say it should be 18 and up. Like it's a very adult series in terms of its themes and the horrors shown and everything. A lot of the various just commentaries on the real world politically and whatnot. It's just, this is not for a younger audience by any means. And here's the thing, I've known plenty of teenagers and even younger kids who have been very mature for their age. And I definitely still think it's kind of a case by case basis. And it's like, if a kid can handle this series, then let them handle it. They might not understand every little thing happening, and it might frighten them heavily at points. But if they can handle it and they want to experience this, then it's their choice and you should let them. It's not going to mess them up or anything. It's not going to like ruin their innocence or whatever dumb overprotective parents like to say. It'll frighten them a bit, and it'll get them just really emotionally hurt a little bit by certain things that happen. But it's not going to like mess them up or anything like that. But it's like it should be a case by case basis at least. But I definitely think that this is a series that is written in a way to where it's focused more on adult themes and ideas. That's just all I'm trying to say here. Oda is clearly trying to tell a very mature intense story. So yeah, yeah. But on the plus side, it is definitely helping me just love Wano more and more, because I do love this kind of stuff. I love these kind of stories and whatnot, and where it's mature for sure, but it's not trying to be overly so. Like, I don't like it when shows try way too hard to be mature, because it ends up feeling forced. It ends up feeling very fake in its maturity. You know what I mean? Like shows like Rick and Morty, where it's like, by the way, if you like Rick and Morty, all the power to you. That's completely fine, and I support that. But for me, Rick and Morty feels very much like they're trying way too hard to be adult, and it just comes across as forced and unnatural. And the same goes for like Family Guy / American Dad. It's the same thing that tries way too hard to be mature and adult, and it just comes across as juvenile because it focuses more on crude, vulgar humor than actual adult content. One Piece is more actually adult oriented than either of those shows could ever be. So it's like it's kind of funny to me. Um, but I'm stalling because honestly, I'm scared. I don't want to see Toko crying and breaking down anymore. I don't want to see the people of Ebisu Town crying and breaking down, all while having to smile, being forced to. But I want to continue because I'm really enjoying where it's going, and even if it does emotionally upset me, it's still telling one hell of a story. And hey, making your bad guys seem like absolute shitbags is not a bad thing. Honestly, it's a good thing. Villains should be, well, villains. Uh, and I'm fine with antagonists that have like some sense of morality and some sense of like understanding to their characters every once in a while, but I also just like villains who are just absolutely despicable and just absolutely evil. And that's what we're getting here, so I'm good with that. But tell me, or I was gonna like, act like this was the outro. But either way, we're just gonna get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, there's two main like big things that happen in this episode. So we're gonna mainly just go through those. So the first part had our heroes in the Flower Capital taking on Diaz Drake and Kiyoshiro, and I guess to a lesser degree Orochi, but he kind of like zoomed off. um, so in order to protect Otoko, we had Sanji and Zoro come into action. They were fighting off the samurai, and while Sanji protected Otoko, Zoro went off to try and kill Orochi in response to him finding out what Orochi had done with the smile fruits and the people of Ebisu Town, as well as killing Tonoyasu. However, Kiyoshiro interfered and fought him instead. Meanwhile, Sanji had to fight off Diaz Drake, who had turned into full Allosaurus form, and eventually managed to be able to fight a lot better once he handed off Otoko to Usopp. And at first, both of them are having trouble, but manage to get the upper hand in the end. Zoro gets the upper hand on Kiyoshiro, although he ends up leaving after the ninja arrive, though they end up being scared away by Brook again. um, except two of them are off chasing after Hiyori, meanwhile, because she was, hanging around Zoro. Sanji, since he doesn't have to worry about Otoko anymore, he hears Hiyori scream for help and decides to finish off Diaz Drake quickly, just destroying him. But Zoro gets to Hiyori first, and that freaks out Sanji. Um, and so, kind of just the mission at this point is getting everybody to safety, working on that stuff. Meanwhile, the second part of these episodes focus on back at the Udon camp. And back there, we see that Big Mom has arrived. After everything that's going on, Big Mom has finally arrived. She comes in and has a fight with Queen because she wants the red bean soup. Queen doesn't want to share because it's his favorite food, and he's, very picky about that kind of shit, it seems. So he turns into his full Brachiosaurus form and fights Big Mom, but she's too strong. She's an emperor. He never had a chance. Unbeknownst to him, though, the pot was empty. Big Mom finds this out when she opens it, and Luffy accidentally says out loud, because he's an idiot, that he's the one who ate all the soup. So Big Mom starts attacking him. Still not knowing who she is, mind you. And while this is all going on, Raizo and Caribou are enacting a plan to shut down all of the Den Mushi and all the transmissions around the Udon area, which is very smart and very, very much a good idea. But Luffy is still in danger. As the ring is finally destroyed and the collars are about to not only explode but slice off Luffy and Hio's heads, Luffy summons the full force of the Rio Haki, the Wano form of Haki called Rio that had been perfected by people like Old Man Hio. And he manages to use this to increase the strength of his Haki, specifically his color of arms, and break the collars both surrounding Hio and himself, saving them. And now both are completely free, but as Big Mom continues her rampage, Hio decides, we're going to train you right now. Protect me. I'm just going to stand here. Protect me from Big Mom. And it's clear that Luffy's mastery of the Rio form of Haki here is based in the fact that he gets, not just angry, but wants to protect people and is just basically in a desperate situation. That desperate situation brings out his ability to use this full power of the Rio Haki. And so, of course, having to protect Old Man Hio here, who he's grown to like, he's definitely going to be able to summon it again. We see at the very end, there's that little, shot of Luffy standing there with the flower petals surrounding him and everything. It's like, he's clearly about to use it again and everything. It's like, this is a huge upgrade for Luffy. Beyond just his various Gear 4th forms, beyond just his general mastery of Haki with the color of the Supreme King, the color of arms, the color of observation. It's a new level of mastery. And once he really gets it down, to where he can use it at will at any time, that's going to be massive. um, and this is a good way to keep increasing his power, just by having it like not just keep adding powers on, but actually improving upon the powers he already has by introducing new ways to use them, new forms for them, stuff like that. That I actually appreciate as a way to handle this kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I really like how this has gone. Um, During all of this, though, we also find out that Kamazo is Killer, the first mate of Kid's pirates. And as I said in the reaction, I knew about this going in. Again, I didn't know all the details, but I knew there was a character named Kamazo who was really Killer, and that there is a big reveal about that. That's the gist of what I knew. I didn't know any of the details about who Kamazo was or anything, or why Killer was in disguise or anything like that. So that all was new. But yeah, once I knew he was named Kamazo, that's why I kept calling him every time I referred to him, I kept calling him Killer Kamazo, the Killer Kamazo, because not just because I was saying he was a killer, which he clearly was. It was because of who he was. I was kind of dropping that hint there for you guys. I don't know if anyone caught that, but I wanted to kind of drop that hint to let you know that, yeah, I know who he is. But I think that's actually one of the last things I'm spoiled on. One of the last. It's not the last. I know that for sure. Because there is something else I've already talked about in that Okama video I made. Um, Talking about the Okama of the One Piece world. There's something else in that I know of. But I don't think there's much of anything else that I can think of, at least. Character or story wise. So I'm interested to see how these last episodes leading up to the well, getting caught up go, because we're starting to get close now. We are starting to get very close. We only have like a couple handfuls of weeks left, right? Because again, we should be finishing by the beginning of May. So we're getting there. We are getting there. And I'm still very excited about that. Um, but I'm interested to see what they do now that Luffy's escaped and everything's been happening. The Straw Hats, like, they know now. The enemies know full out that the Straw Hats are there. Nothing to hide anymore. So it's just at this point, things are going to probably have to change. But then we got to also account for everything else happening, all the other storylines that are currently going on. Like, where is Ashura Doji going to be taking Kinemon and them? He's clearly taking them somewhere. We know that, but we don't know where yet. Hopefully, it seems like he might be coming around and actually willing to work with them again, but it's hard to say. I'm very interested, though. We also saw that the cell for I don't remember his name, but the Kappa samurai is broken, and so he's probably going to end up getting out soon too with Raizo. Caribou will probably end up escaping, because why not? I guess Caribou's an ally now. Yeah, it's just wild. I was wondering when we went into Act 2 how this act was going to compare to the first one. And it's done a lot. It's done a lot of big stuff. Act 1 was definitely focused on just introducing us to Wano, um, bringing in the concept of the time travel, as well as like having our first big confrontation with Kaido. Act 2 seems to be focused heavily on Luffy's learning Rio Haki, the Straw Hats becoming like the, the enemies learning of the Straw Hats all being there. Let's word it that way. As well as kind of the big stuff with Big Mom coming into play. So how is this going to end? Because again, Act 3 like just started in the anime. So there's still a bit more to go with Act 2. I'm just wondering exactly what more they're going to do here. I'm very excited to find out, though. So, that being said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of these episodes of One Piece, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.